Hello, Master Manifestors. Welcome to MethodMuse, where we talk about science based methods for manifestation. Today, we're talking about intentions and idealization. Now, what is the problem with idealizing outcomes? What most people do when they have a desire is create this mental experience in which that desire is going to make things better or improve things. They want an upgrade. They want more pleasure, more freedom, more security, more whatever it is. And they see it in we see it in contrast with our state. Like with where we are right now, we see the contrast and we feel like there's something missing. And intentions are usually focused on the future state rather than the regulation of right now. Now, the problems this causes is to constantly be future checking. Have I got there yet? You're already in the story. You're there. Once you set an intention to manifest something, you are there. You are already in the story in which that thing unfolds. It is already done. There is no future point. There's only now unfolding. And when you're trying to constantly check, okay, is the future here yet? You're creating that attachment and resistance to what is. You're attaching to some ideal future concept that doesn't really exist yet. And when it gets here, you're not going to feel the same way about it as you think you will in your mind. It always comes out a little differently because on the way there, you change internally. Your state changes. So, how you feel about things, how you interact with the experience changes. Now, that constant checking weakens your state stability in actually enjoying and getting satisfaction out of the thing you get when the manifestation comes in. And it's also like the idealizing, the imagining this point in time in which you will have this perfect scenario. You forget this is a moving story. That point is going to continue to move also and collect new information and new experiences, new challenges. It is your internal experience that matters. It is your state that matters. And when you're constantly thinking about, oh, I don't have this, you're going to start triggering your emotions and your nervous system into thinking lack, into thinking something is really terrible about you or this situation. And you'll start feeling that pressure and that desperation. And once again, attachment and resistance. You'll get into the attachment resistance cycle. You start triggering your nervous system, triggering your emotions, triggering those negative thoughts about, I don't have it. Why don't I have it? It's so upsetting, you know? And then you become less flexible in the possibilities that could unfold, all the things that you don't know that could be opening up into your awareness and into your experience now. And you start getting all this pressure to do and to perform and to have to. There is none of that. That's not how manifestation works. Manifestation is not a doing process. It is a process of becoming and experiencing. And then you start delaying your potential for being happy now and focusing on what to be grateful for and to enjoy now here in your present by idealizing this future point that might not even be so great as you think it is. It might be, it could turn out to be, it's more likely to turn out to be if you're enjoying the process as you get there. And you also don't want to inflate the concept of your identity in that outcome. You are you, and you are wonderful as you are. You don't want to abandon yourself for some future ideal of you that is actually the same thing with just more expansion and more awareness of experience. Nothing about you has changed. You're still the same base level you. You may expand your awareness. You may rewrite some of your programs in your identity system, your behavioral predictive system, but foundationally, you are still the observer of your story. You're still your character. So, what do you do instead? What are your options? How can you stop focusing on this ideal, perfect object thing? By focusing on having the ideal state now, the ideal internal experience, the ideal feelings that you want to have in that outcome. Is the outcome object physical money? Then you need to be focusing on feeling security around financial matters. Is it love? You need to work in focusing on feeling love in all its forms, especially from yourself. So when you remove the frame of better or better than or this is more than what I have, your state becomes more coherent because you're more focused in on I have, I am, it's already done. And you want to allow your identity shifts. Remember, your identity is your behavioral predictive system. You want to let it come in like packets, like increments. You want to allow this new prediction program to evolve slowly, not, like in years, maybe years, depending on what it is you want. But it could be minutes, it could be hours, it could be days, it could be weeks. The point is, you're not focusing on the time, you're focusing on observing the story, on watching it move through and watching the thing you said come to pass, watching that intention come to pass. So you want to establish a baseline of I have everything, nothing is missing. I've got everything I need and everything is coming to me that I've requested. And then when you want something in the physical, like is a physical object, is a representation. Remember that physical objects they're just representations. They're symbolic in our minds. They're 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 real in a sense, but they're not real in the way we think of them. We give them associations, we give them meaning, we make them mean things about ourselves. What does having this house mean about me? What does driving this car mean about me? What does wearing these clothes mean about me? What does having this boyfriend, girlfriend, XYZ, you know, what what does that mean? It is the meaning that we give things right now that sets the stage for the meaning we will have for things later. So, when you're thinking about idealizing your state, you want to consider the desire itself. What kind of experience is this going to give me? Am I going to feel safe, chosen, seen? Will I feel more free to do things, to travel, to learn things, to expand my awareness? What is the goal of the experience? And then remove all the storyline. Like, okay, am I going to get this experience from having a mate? No, let's just take the storyline out of it and focus 100% on the experiences with no scenes or future idealization, just viewing the nervous system pattern of what it is you're trying to get to, what kind of feeling, experience, state, mental situation, what kind of thoughts would you be having? What's your situation going to feel like in your body? And you want to generate that as much as you can. You want to access it through the way you move your body, through where you're focusing your attention, and you want to train yourself to trigger that state, the requested state, instead of being triggered by other things externally. You trigger you. External is probably still going to trigger you a little bit, but not as much when you are used to being the one directing your internal system. So you want to do it in increments too. You want to do it in small, short loops. Like you could do it with affirmations. You could do it with, thought stream inspiration. There's a lot of thought stream inspiration on this channel. If you look under thought streams, um, you could do it with a lot of different things. Visualization, journaling. There's tons and tons of methods to do this. But the point is where you are directing your focus and what the feeling is like now and what feeling you're trying to get to without all the subtext, without all the extra stuff that you think is bringing you that. It is not the outside that brings you feelings. It is you. It is your system that delivers the experience. The outside might be influencing it, but it cannot control it, not 100%. You're letting it be or not letting it become. And you really have to have your attention, your focus to allow that to come through. And you want to watch for when your mind drifts back to, oh, when XYZ happens, then I'm going to be really happy. No, your happiness comes now. Happiness is available now. If it's not here now, later on, you're just going to move the bar higher. You'll get to that thing and it won't feel as satisfying. And you'll be like, okay, well, then I need XYZ again outside of me to help me feel better. No, that is not how it works. This is an inside to outside process. The objects are optional. The state is the important thing. The state is salient. That is what you want to focus on from within your system. So I hope this has helped you to understand what idealization is when you're setting intentions and how to focus on the ideal state instead of the ideal outcome or object. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and sign up for the MethodMuse newsletter in the description below.